Welcome to this edition of Bonehead of the Week. We have a great Bonehead of the Week for you. Today, this week, on Friday, every single Friday, in the second hour of the Tony Michaels podcast, every single Friday. And we also, if you're over on the MeidasTouch Network, we replay the broadcast on the MeidasTouch Network. So don't forget to follow us over on the Tony Michaels podcast on YouTube. Even though we've had a little bit of YouTube trouble here lately, we're back. We're back,
bad
baby.
Boys. We are some bad boys.
Back, baby.
We just came out of jail. And
yeah,
we're
that's
saying,
true.
What's up?
That's right. We're YouTube criminals, and we were locked up for quite some time. Lock us up on YouTube. Gabe, we got some boneheads here. Boy, are they boneheaded. And this was a close race. I actually thought one of these was going to come out front, but it was pretty
I got to
close,
tell you, when
it?
I made the graphic today for the video, I was like, damn, this is actually way closer than I thought it was going to be.
Right. I really thought one of them would make their way out front and not stop, but
tight race for a tight group of boneheads.
Ooh, some fucking boneheads. So where should we start? Should we start with a judge? I think we should start with Judge Cannon.
Yeah,
Judge. If you can consider her a fucking judge, really.
Well, yeah. I mean, what I find funny about the situation is that at the end of the day, the people that were also very critical of her were Trump-appointed judges. Which
wait,
beautiful.
Wait. Now, the criticism that you're speaking of, where did the criticism appear?
Right. So this was, if we go back to where this started, right? Trump was like, hey, I want to shop this around to different judges. And I am sure he had a list of people to be like, look, this is who we brought in. We think we might have a good choice. It's like when people are trying to, when lawyers are trying to select a jury, like who are they more willing to feel like sympathetic or be more kind of objective and judgmental about the person that's on trial. So with this, I'm sure they had a list of people and they're like, look, we brought her in, so she kind of owes us a favor. I feel like she'll do us a solid. And they went to her and they said, hey, we should actually have these documents. We want you to choose a special master for us. After Trump had whined and cried about wanting a special master, the DA was like, fine, well, fuck it, whatever, okay? She gets on the case and she says, actually, you, the DOJ, don't have rights to these documents. It's actually Trump's property.
It's kind of weird. Kind of weird considering...
Like, it doesn't make any sense in that it does make Trump sense,
Right.
But
I mean, it makes sense in the fact that the only way for him to really skate criminal charges here is if he can somehow prove that these are his, not the government.
Right, exactly.
It's not even
so she puts out her legal opinion and says, yeah, these documents, especially these 100 classified documents, the DOJ should not actually be able to review any further, and it should be, basically ruling in favor of Trump. Which a lot of people at the time were like, what the fuck is going on? And if this gets appealed, or if they try to appeal it, it's going to go in the DOJ's favor because this is not how someone should rule. So at that point, everyone is talking. There is obviously criticism. The criticism that follows, especially in the way that how Judge Aileen Cannon went through this, was from Trump-appointed judges. Which again, like I said, makes this even more beautiful because it's almost as good as the judges that were Trump appointed that overruled to say, or kind of threw out the election fraud cases that Giuliani and others brought forward because they were like, oh, they thought they were going to be able, no problem, go through and say there was election fraud and those judges were going to take it. But it turns out that those judges were like, you know what? Look, I'm willing to support you only so far. But this fucking shit is crazy, and I can't do it. And so it's the same situation where they've appointed these judges because loyalty, and they want them to, do what they want. They want to be a follower. And then it turns out that these judges actually fucking turn around and say, that's not how the law works.
Right. Well, and even this Deary, the special master that was appointed, because Deary is a federal judge, which it's kind of awkward to have a special master who is a sitting federal judge. That doesn't happen a lot. But the reason why it happened in this situation is because I believe the Trump team thought that this guy was corrupt. because he was part of the FISA court that issued the warrant for the wiretaps on Carter Page. So like, oh, this guy is totally corruptible, which if you go back and look at the Carter Page FISA warrant, there wasn't corruption in that. It was a mistake, but it wasn't corruption on the FISA court's part.
Right.
So I don't understand if that was their logic, that this Judge Dearie was somehow corruptible. But it almost feels like, because in their little, where they were nominating or recommending special masters, they had one other, but this one was Trump's appointment. They wanted Dearie, but they had two choices, and they made him one of the choices. But they called him a retired, well, not retired in so many words, but they almost thought that he was retired. He wasn't sitting on a current federal bench.
Right.
So it's almost, they thought like, okay, he's corruptible and he's retired, so he won't be tied to any kind of, oath or commitment to the current court or something. I don't know. But he's in the Eastern District of New York, right? Yep. He's a sitting judge, a sitting federal judge, and it's not unheard of, but it is kind of weird that a sitting federal judge is a special master, but they have special legal things where they can do that. And so they did it because the DOJ's like, oh, you want Dearie? Oh, you fucked up. Because DOJ's like, this guy is a no-nonsense judge. He follows, he was nominated under Ronald Reagan. He was confirmed under Ronald Reagan. This guy's not just been on the court for a couple years. Motherfucker's been on the court for a long damn time. Knows how it works, right? He's been a federal judge for quite some time. And he's always been no nonsense. If you look at this guy's record, he's not really a partisan. And what I mean by that is he's not really a liberal. He's not a conservative. He's just like, he's as benign as a federal judge as you might want, right? Like in all rule of law, fairness, he's really benign, right? And why they selected this guy is beyond me, because immediately when he gets to be the special master, the first question he asked is the question that this fucking bonehead Cannon should have asked. And he totally cucks her. I don't know if she's going to show up on the Alpha Cuck, but she totally got cucked here. And the reason why is because he says, hey, you're claiming, as Trump and his legal team, you're claiming that you declassified these documents. I want to see the proof where you which it doesn't matter. And he knows it doesn't matter, but he knows that one question alone totally smashes up their entire fucking argument over this whole thing. Because they keep saying, I declassified him, as if that absolves him of any crime of taking the shit, stealing the documents, harboring them, not securing them, and obstructing justice to get them back. Like, the classification of these documents, regardless of what you think actually happens or how it gets declassified, it doesn't make a difference one iota. And that's what the Judge Dearie understands. And he's like, hey, your main argument here is bullshit. I get that. But I want to see proof that you even can make this argument. Because they actually have to have evidence to make the argument.
And I was going to say that he really did come forward and was like, look, step up or shut up. That was the way that it looked. Because it was like, look, you claim that you declassified these documents. Fine. Okay. Whatever. If you did so, show me the proof. Which is the same thing that everyone has said. Which is like, okay, look, you claim to have waved your hands and thought it or whatever, that you declassified these things. But we need some sort of receipts, a piece of paper, some other agency that approved it, something to show us that you actually declassified, not some fucking Kash Patel interview on Fox News.
Well, but that's the thing. Is they moved the goalposts like they always do. Because Kash Patel came out and he said, I was standing in the room when he did it. And now yesterday, the day before yesterday, he goes on Sean Hannity, and that's not what he says at all. He doesn't say, I stood over the boxes and declared them declassified. He says, well, I thought it, so that must be what it is.
Exactly.
I mean, literally, they are even moving the goalposts, because here's the thing, folks. They know they're fucked. There is no evidence. Kash Patel, when he tells you that shit on some interview somewhere, And you notice Kash Patel hasn't been in the news here lately.
Nope.
Because he's completely fucked.
I'm sure he might have gotten I don't know, like a subpoena or something from the DOJ to be like, hey, so you said this stuff?
Yeah,
let's talk a little bit.
So you were there when he was doing this?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how you would say out in public that you were there when he was committing crime. Really funny how Kash Patel would do that. The other thing, too, here that I think people are missing from the interview that I think Cannon fucking totally dropped the ball on is what the documents are. What they are. Folks, I'm just speculating here, and I'm only using the Cheeto Dust Mobster's projection to actually do the speculation, but it's pretty easy to read him. He's predictably unpredictable. Yeah. My guess is almost every single document that he stole that has especially human assets on it, it is intelligence that was collected on him. It has his name on the documents. It's intelligence that was collected by our intelligence agency about him. We know that there was intelligence collected on him. We know he colluded. We know he tried to obstruct an investigation in the Russian collusion in our government on the 2016 election. We know that. We know they invited Russians to the Trump Tower. We know all of this. And I would almost bet my last dollar is that those documents, most of the documents he stole, are intelligence on himself.
Yeah.
Because he's not interested in anything else but himself anyway. Yeah, so why it wouldn't make sense.
He sees his name and he's like, that's mine.
Mine. And that's the other reason why he thinks it's his, right? Don't you think?
Well, I think 100%. I think the other thing, too, he's like, if my hands are on it, it's mine. Which is like, that's not how that works. Also, like, again, there is a process. And when he goes on Sean Hannity in his fucking fake gold room and says, I thought it, therefore it is, and he says, oh, well, actually, there's no real process to it. That is not at all true. There is a process. You can, a president can unilaterally declassify things, but there's a process that goes in where the agency that classify them says, hey, yes, we can declassify it. There is a process. You have to get the people involved who made the choice to say, actually, the public cannot know this right now.
Well, and to be fair, a president can actually override that. Yeah. But again, it's not just the thought in your brain.
Paper trail.
Right.
There would be some sort of back and forth.
It's called government.
I don't know.
It's called
crazy,
government. I don't know.
Crazy.
It's kind of weird.
But it's one of those things that, I know. It's one of those things, again, that it's like, if you in fact did it, then you should have no problem whatsoever to prove that you did it. You've got an email, you've got a letter, you got a phone call, you got a video, you got a voice recording, you have something besides your dumbass fat orange fucking brain.
Right.
It's not that, because that's not a real thing. So either you did it and you've got evidence for it, or you didn't do it and you're trying to make up and lie about you did do it, right?
Well, I'm sure we're going to get into more of this, and I want to give you my opinion on what they would do if Joe Biden said this type of shit. So remind me when we get to this other bonehead.
Yeah.
Because I know we're going to talk about that. But let's talk about Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis can go fuck himself. You know what I mean?
Ron human trafficking DeSantis.
Oh, this guy. And I know this kind of sinks into you really deep, Gabe, because your family came here from Mexico to seek a better life in America, and your dad worked his ass off to do that, and you're here as an American citizen because of that.
Yeah.
And for them to treat these human beings like just pieces of meat, I know makes you infuriated.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's personal to you.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know how hard my dad worked and how much that he sacrificed to provide for our family. And how much that he wanted us, my brother and myself, to have a better life. And so when I see someone like Ron DeSantis or Greg Abbott just go willy-nilly, I throw him on a plane and I shoot him up to Martha's Vineyard, or I shoot him over to, VP Harris's house, or I shoot him up to Delaware to go see, President Biden. That type of stuff where it's like, they aren't humans. They're not treated like humans. They're treated like objects. And it's disgusting, because they give no actual care, as a fellow human would, toward another human. They don't actually follow the Christian values. They don't actually say, hey, look, maybe we should treat these people that are seeking asylum and refuge and a better life in this country an opportunity, instead of lying to them, giving them some BS pamphlet, lying about this Perla, which I'm sure is Christina Pushaw, which is kind of the right-hand person, the director of Ron DeSantis in Florida.
And that also seems like the target for the criminal probe that's happening.
And so, like, it's not just them. And so right now, I'm happy to see that, like, not only is there investigation from Javier Salazar in San Antonio of Bexar County, not only are we seeing a class action lawsuit from the 48 migrants that were flown under false pretenses to Martha's Vineyard, but we're now seeing this moment of, like, there are consequences for the actions that you take. There are consequences for you being a shitty, awful, garbage human being and not respecting someone else who is trying to seek the thing that you promise that is something that you get in this country, which is you get the family, you get the house, you get this, you get that. But if someone doesn't look white, you know, they're brown, they're black, whatever they are, you don't get the same rights. You don't get the same opportunities. You don't get the same amount of respect and freedom and liberty that we've declared in the Constitution, that you fucking rile yourselves up as fucking patriots. But really, you're all just a bunch of fucking fake triots. You're not real. You don't actually care about people. You are hypocrites. You don't follow the Constitution. You don't respect law and order, despite that you say, oh, we're the party of law and order. You don't actually care for the to back the blue. Like we saw that on January 6th. Like, this is a party that is anti-American. It is anti-life. It is just anti-human rights. And at the end of the day, that is what the Republican Party is. So when you see Ron DeSantis ship someone over from Texas on a plane to Martha's Vineyard because, you know what, we're going to fucking own the libs, that is a terrible thing to do. That is a terrible human, and is a terrible party that stands behind him and supports, like fucking Ted Cruz and these other fucking cucks.
Well, because today is their commitment to cruelty, and their commitment is to do more of this stuff and to treat other human beings like pieces of meat in political ponds. Because let me tell you something. Most areas in this country, blue states especially, and a lot of these big metropolitan areas would welcome these migrants, these refugees who are seeking asylum to come here. They would love for them. If they could find a way for Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis to organize to spend the federal dollars that they've given and to make it efficient to get them to their areas. The problem is the reason why they had to go down to Texas and San Antonio to coerce these people out of shelters is because they are seeking asylum in Texas.
Yeah.
And they have a federal courthouse there where they have to appear for their legal asylum hearing.
Right.
And they can't go to fucking other states. They can't go to other places yet because they have to get their asylum done so that they can actually move.
Right.
And what these Republicans, these vile, cruel pieces of shit are doing is coercing these people out of a situation where they're seeking legal asylum in this country for refuge to America, for the American dream, the American liberty that they claim to love, which they only love it for white Christian nationalists, and that's it. And really, honestly, if you have the passion that Gabe has for Ron DeSantis going and fucking himself, show it with the T-shirt. Ron DeSantis can go fuck himself.
And the other thing I want to point out is the fact that, like, even if you say, you know, we've got an immigration problem and we need to fix it, great, fine, that's totally a thing. Let's actually bring that to the table. But if you're willing to lie, hoodwink, bait and switch someone and say, oh, you know, again, who are seeking asylum and have actual court appearances in Texas, and then say, get on this flight, we'll give you money, we'll give you shelter, we'll take you to this place. Now you're thousands of miles away, right? From somewhere that not only are you thousands of miles or hundreds of miles from where your actual home, original home was in these countries that you were seeking asylum from. So now you're in a new country, and then you say, oh, actually, we're going to ship you off to this spot. Again, to own the libs. Like,
it's really crazy.
The biggest fucking problem that I have with this is the fact that innocent Floridians and Texans, they are paying the price, literally paying the price. Their tax dollars are going in and paying for the transportation, the illegal transportation of these migrants who are seeking asylum.
As a political stunt for a campaign.
Right. So you've got a governor in Texas and you've got a governor in Florida, and they're both trying to see who can do the worst here. Like, the fact that you're trying to outdo the other one to see, hey, how much shittier can I be than you? Is it?
Well, I mean that's Trumpism in a nutshell.
Well, yeah, 100%.
I mean, the Cheeto Dust mobster has went all full QAnon over on Fraud Social, apparently.
Right. But I guess people are totally fine with paying extra money or having their tax dollars that could go towards roads, infrastructure, repairing your community, actually going to the things that you say, hey, I'm paying my taxes. They should go to the things that I have actually a stake in. Not say, oh, you should take that money and then go pay for these people to be illegally transported across state lines.
Did I mess up here? Did I get the winner wrong? I think I got the winner wrong here.
Do I have the wrong winner in there?
No, I don't know. Did you do the math? Because I'm on the winner right now. I did not know that he won. I thought the other guy won. The former guy.
Oh, yes, he did win.
Did he inch? He inched out?
He inched out. Yeah.
So see, this is my mistake.
Oh, my God.
This is my mistake, folks. This is my mistake, folks. I really thought that the Cheeto Dust mobster, I really thought that he won. But
No,
see, I'm
close,
giving it
man.
away. I'm giving it away.
Wow.
It was Ron DeSantis. Ron
We'll come
DeSantis
back.
is our winner. We'll come back around.
We'll come back.
We got enough Ron DeSantis can go fuck himself energy for the winner. And again, if you want to get some Ron DeSantis can go fuck himself merch, go to store.dtonymichaels.com. It's a great design. We made the meme, and everyone's like, t-shirts, so I made a t-shirt. So there's hoodies, coffee cups.
I'm seeing a lot of suggestions for Fake Gabe to be nominated as like Alpha Cuck or dishonorable mention.
Oh, really?
Look, if Fake Gabe wants to submit his real photo, and not
absolutely. Bullshit.
Other avatar, then I'll take it, and I will
consider.
Give you
we'll make the
crown of that type.
Well, let's move on to then the former guy here. I want to get to this because we're gonna run out of time here. As I was saying before, I want to mention this whole I thinketh and they be declassifiedeth this, whatever this is. This if the president thinks it, then it's a thing. Here's the thing. Can you fucking imagine, Gabe, if today Joe Biden's like, I'm calling a press conference, and he comes out in front of the microphone and he says, on January 20th, 2021, when my hand left the Bible, and I was president at that moment in time, I'm telling you right now, retroactively, that at that moment, I thought in my brain that all the records that were declassified by Donald Trump are reclassified the way they were before. That means he goes to jail, no get out of jail free card, go lock him up, get the fucking handcuffs, arrest him, and oh, by the way, get Donald Trump Jr.'s laptop and get Eric Trump's diary, get it all. Get it all from him, lock him up. Can you fucking imagine?
Oh.
Just the hemorrhaging on the right. They would lose their fucking minds because it's not a thing. Joe Biden couldn't come out and say that nonsense. Because it isn't real. That's why it's really frustrating when a bunch of fucking dummies in this country, a bunch of boneheads, these QAnon cult members, believe this nonsense when this orange Mussolini Jesus says it. What the fuck are you talking about, people?
Like, this whole like, I declassified everything, that type of logic doesn't really work when you can't tell me what the fuck you have in those boxes. Right? Like, if you just took a shit ton of shit because it mentioned your name or it was this classified nuclear documents or this or that or whatever, right? If you just took it and were like, yep, everything in these boxes, declassified. Doesn't work that way because you have to show me and prove that you knew what you took should have been declassified. Just like if Joe Biden were to say, I classified everything. It'd be like, well, maybe some of those things were really declassified, but now you're reclassified. Like, there's no list, there's no order, there's no actual function. It's all chaos, and this guy is just believing, for whatever insane reason, that if he thinks it, then it becomes reality. If he really, you know what? If he really thought hard enough, then maybe he would have won the election. I don't know. But turns out that another 7+ million people said, nah, your thought is really fucked, so goodbye.
Right, and we don't want a fascist running our country. Here's the clip from Hannity. It's a longer clip, but there's several things in this that I want to talk about. So let's watch this clip here because he says a couple of different things, Gabe. Number one, he says at Mar-a-Lago and wherever, which means there's other documents other places.
Wherever he has other properties or other presences or it has a presence somewhere.
Right. And then he talks about Russia. And then he talks about Russia, which, and information on him and the Clinton emails. This only tells me that he's projecting that all the intelligence that he was trying to gather up was intelligence that the intelligence agency collected on him. And, which kind of brings up a point. Remember when he was saying, I was taking this for my library? You remember that? My presidential library? Remember that was one of their flimsy arguments that they moved the goalpost on?
Yeah.
He was taking it so it didn't end up in front of the American people 50, 60 years from now, and they know, this guy, holy shit, this guy was a traitor before 2016.
Yeah.
Like,
turns out this guy was a piece of shit.
He's been a traitor for a long time. I can't believe Americans actually supported this Mussolini orange Jesus. I cannot believe it. And that's what he's trying. That's why he wants to hide it. This is a great still. He was jackjawed the whole time because he was really pissed off. He's trying to prevent himself from. Wait.
That's he's
it.
I mean, again,
can you grab that? Can you grab the picture of his new diaper while we're talking? Go grab that while we're talking. Go ahead. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say. I actually was going to point out.
Oh, okay.
The dumpy lump that he left in his back trunk.
I guess in his junk in his trunk.
Yeah, like Trumpy got back.
Okay, well, we were thinking the same thing. Let's watch this clip of Dumb and Dumber talk about how it doesn't work.
So let me ask you this question, because I think this is the next logical question, because the president of the United States, you, unlike, say, Hillary Clinton in her case, a president has the power to declassify.
Correct.
Okay. You had said on Truth Social a number of times you did declassify. I
did declassify, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Is there a process? What was your process to declassify?
There doesn't have to be a process, as I understand it. There's different people say different things, but as I understand, there doesn't have to be. If you're the president of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it.
This is really embarrassing. This is so embarrassing. I can't even believe that these people are like, this is my guy. Like, just in this first 30 seconds of this interview, it's so stupid. It's so dumb. And they're even trying to almost figure out a way to convince even the dumbest of the dumb that, hey, it really is just a situation where he's so powerful and he's so, he's such a great leader that he can just think it, that other leaders can't do that. It's just him that can do that.
Yeah. This is the same type of stuff as when they think, Joe Biden is the one controlling inflation and gas prices and this and that. Like, it's the same type of logic. It's so fucking asinine. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So when you've got this guy saying, there's no real process as far as I know, I just classify. There is a process. And I would hope that if someone's going to lie about stealing classified documents from the government and playing this whole like, I don't have it. I have it. I don't really have it. Here are some documents, but they're not all the documents. And then, you guys came into my house illegally to get the documents that I told you I didn't have. At the end of the day, if you're going to lie about this stuff, if you're going to say, I actually did declassify them, you better fucking know the actual process that's involved. You better know like, actually, this actually is declassified or it's a little bit different in this case because of XYZ. But if you just say, there's actually no process to it, I can declassify whatever I want, and if I think it, then everyone else should fucking know that it's declassified. Again, I would hope that if someone's going to steal these documents and try to make this argument, that they would at least know some nuances of the actual process to try to navigate it out other than, I thought it, so it's a thing.
So Elgin Charles has it here. You sent it. He said, Did Donald Trump get a BBL? And for anyone who doesn't know what a BBL is, I believe it's a Brazilian butt lift. Is that what a BBL is?
Yeah, that's the one that I've seen.
Where they take fat out of another part of your body and inject it into your ass. Is that the? That's the actual. I mean, not so. I'm not so. Crude as I put it, but fuck, what am I going to do?
Could be like, it's be back later, but it is Brazilian butt lift.
Right. BBL is Brazilian butt lift.
I've seen some bad like online, someone's like, "Don't get a Brazilian butt lift," or
like here's the results and they were horrible.
Yeah, I also
so does it depend on your plastic surgeon? I would imagine it's kind of like a mechanic. Like if you go get your engine replaced, right? If you have a really shitty mechanic, it may not turn out so great. But if you have a good mechanic, he may be able to do she may be able to do the job and get the engine done.
Yeah, you're paying for quality and hoping that the mechanic that's doing the work on your car is actually smart,
competent.
Competent, actually knows what they're talking about. But yeah, it is.
This one looks like if this is a BBL, if Elgin's right here and he did get a BBL, his plastic surgeon was way off the mark. Because Elgin also, Elgin also says, I guess he's preparing for his time in the clink. I don't know if this is like Elgin. I don't know if this is a reference like people are gonna like this or what. But he even gives an arrow here. Dude's got a fat ass, anyways. Yeah, like dude's got a fat ass. Have you ever seen pictures of him golfing or tennis? He's got a fat. I mean, yeah, he's got Big Macs as far as the eye can see with
and
mountains of buckets of chicken.
Maybe could be crazy thought here. Maybe he's got documents stuffed in his ass.
Oh, so
maybe
you're
he's
saying
always walking with these documents
because he doesn't want them to search anywhere else. That's maybe where the whatever is. He's like at Mar-a-Lago or
my ass,
whatever, like in my diaper.
Right, exactly. Like the idea he's like, or whatever. Like I don't know. It could be like wherever. And meanwhile, like documents are falling. I made a joke about how he, maybe he had stuff in his jacket, but then I really looked at the video later and I was like,
could be
maybe he's got shit stuffed in his pants. Like, I don't know, actual shit, but he's got shit stuffed in his pants that are actual documents. Trump has this
seems to be growing. Look at that.
It's protruding.
God damn. God damn.
Growth there. I know.
I stopped carrying my wallet in my back pocket because you'd always do that. You'd have when you sit on a bed.
It's bad for your hip.
Right.
Fine.
But so maybe at first you think this, but you're like, no, that wallet would be the size of an Oldsmobile to get your ass to go up like that. I mean, really.
It was when I see this, I immediately go to Kindergarten Cop with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's like, oh, I got a headache, right? And the kid's like, well, maybe it's a tumor, and he's like, it's not a tumor. And that is what I imagine here. They're
it's not a BBL.
Like you've got this junk and you got this dump truck of a back here full of documents. Christ. And Sean Harris like, oh, what's going on with your back? Maybe he's like, I don't know. He's
back
like, maybe it's a tumor. He's like, it's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
It's not a
That's
tumor.
like a Arnold Schwarzenegger, Donald Trump there. But the idea that he's got this fucking fat ass,
right?
It's thick with 3 Ks. That is.
It looks like the Gabe. We got some breaking news here on Bonehead of the Week because we got an alpha cuck. I don't mean to switch gears so fast.
Yeah.
But it looks like people are doing this. They're having a press conference here. Explain who the Bonehead or the alpha cuck is of the week? This JR guy. Go ahead and explain.
JR Majewski.
Yeah.
Some people might know him as the man. I sent you a couple links for photos. He made himself known by creating a huge Trump banner on his lawn. He painted his whole lawn as a Trump flag.
Right, and it was all over social media.
It was all over, right?
It was a really shitty paint job, too.
I made fun of it on an old sketch I did.
Yeah. I think we talked about it a couple times on the show because this guy's a moron. He was an insurrectionist, too, right?
Exactly. So not only is he an insurrectionist, he was there at the Capitol storming, he also is a QAnon believer. He believes that January 6th was actually FBI. Go figure. And now he's running for Ohio's congressional 9th district.
Is this the guy who had the video where he was had the gun and he was in the warehouse and that sort of shit?
Yeah. That's the guy.
Yeah.
He's the one that's like, oh, I'm a fucking tough Trumper. I got my gun. I'm shooting because all of these Trumpers fucking love their guns and shooting and overcompensating for the things that they lack, whether it's intelligence or down there. Either head, it's pretty small.
Wait, you mean down there like in the front or like Donald Trump in the back where he's trying to stuff and get the BBL?
Well, I think it's in the front, but he's also pretty large, so he might have some classified documents in his trunk as well.
So a lot of mushroom-sized stuff going on here.
Yeah. Okay, very small heads, both ends.
Gotcha.
So when this guy, is insurrectionist, QAnon believer, but the reason that, and he was at the Youngstown, Ohio rally this past weekend, coming up there and talking about who he is and what he represents, all the shit. But the reason that he's in the news now It's because of stolen valor.
Oh, you're telling me that these Mogletites have went and stole valor?
Yep.
I remember this. Now I remember this.
And so the reason it became a big thing is because the RNC was helping. It was like $900,000 or so that they were pushing into.
Yeah, almost $1 million, right?
Yeah, into
because they really thought they could get him to win.
Yeah, they were funding his marketing, commercials, everything as the race leads up to the midterms. The problem is that when this shit came out, that, it turns out that he lied about missing his grandmother's funeral and serving in Iraq. He lied about his actual time in Afghanistan. He lied about actually having this position as a member of the military. This came out and the RNC was like, oh, fuck. And they pulled the rug right from under him. They took all the funding, and they're like, dude, you're on your own. We cannot support you because you lied about where you served, where you were, what you did, like all of these things. And again, go figure that it's a Trump-loving, QAnon-believing insurrectionist that says, ooh, actually, I served in the military and I did these things, when it actually wasn't. He didn't serve where he said he was. He wasn't in Afghanistan. He wasn't there. I think he was in Qatar, which is thousands of miles away.
Yes, that was the story this morning, and they pulled the funding. Here the bonehead is, the alpha cuck. Here he is cucking himself. This is a clip from a press conference this morning where he's trying to explain this away. And again, you see his sign back here, Majewski, America First veteran for Congress. Listen to his Donald Trump style excuse. And I think Donald Trump should just think this and get this out in the open. Listen to his excuse here of why these lies aren't actual lies.
The inquiry states, we show one deployment to Qatar from May 2002 to November 2002. What he did, meaning me, or where he may have went from that location, we do not have visibility on. In fact, the orders and the military records that I've been able to obtain from my personal files shows that all of my deployments are listed as classified.
Okay, so we're in the thinketh and beeth stage of Majewski here.
We couldn't find that. Okay, I have a hard time believing that the Air Force could not actually produce these documents because when they were questioned, they said, yeah, he was in Qatar and this is when he was there. But the idea that he goes, well, look, nobody knew where I was because I was fucking secret ops. I was a fucking Navy SEAL. I was the guy who killed Osama bin Laden, motherfucker. That is this guy right here.
Oh my God.
He's going to claim it's declassified because I was working on top secret shit, dog.
Right.
That is the guy that this is. This is the 100%.
You know what? I wonder if we could get Joe Biden to just think that these records should be declassified, and then bam, we could fix this. We could fix this Majewski problem and get this out in the open because they want transparency, baby. That's what they want. They want transparency. They want freedom. They want liberty. So Joe Biden, I'm calling on the President of the United States, Joe Biden, to think, just to have the thought that these records that Majewski is claiming are classified so we know the truth about him, because we all want to know he's the great American patriot that he claims to be. Right. Joe Biden, please think it. That way we know it.
Please declassify those military records to prove that Majewski actually isn't this crazy spy, covert, classified soldier that's out running, gunning, shooting, killing, all that shit. This guy's a motherfucking cuck, and that's why I put him on Alpha Cuck this week for his stolen valor, for his lying about serving in the military and what he did.
And you know, the Trumpy thing that he's doing here is digging an even deeper hole by going out and saying this nonsense and creating. I mean, he's trying to salvage his campaign. Obviously,
he's like, "Hey, you can't prove I didn't do this if the documents don't actually exist. And they say they're classified." I guarantee someone from the Air Force is now going to come out and be like, "Nope, we do have the documents."
I'm waiting for the reporter. I'm waiting for the reporter to ask Joe Biden to declassify these things. Yeah. Just think it. Tell us out loud. Just say it out loud, and boom, it's true.
I'm waiting for a moment where
he could tweet it. He could tweet it, Gabe.
He could
fucking tweet it.
Donald
I'm just
Trump,
saying.
I know
he's still got his Twitter account.
Yeah.
He could tweet that these records are declassified, and boom, it will be done. He doesn't even have to think it. He can just tweet it. Tweeteth, and it beeth.
Right.
Oh my God. Well,
the thing is, the other thing I just want to point out is, like, you know, I feel kind of bad for people who have to go through the whole like stolen valor routine, right? They're like, I served and I was a military vet or whatever. I did this or I was here, and lie about that to like feel some sort of like relevance.
Right, he served in the military. Why would he lie about his service?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's honorable to serve in the military regardless of where they assigned you to be.
But to lie about those things as a person running for a seat as a politician.
Well, I mean, we see how that turns out with like Madison Cawthorn. We see how that turns out with him.
Yeah.
And even several others like Tom Cotton. He's participated in stolen valor by exaggerating his military service. It's ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous exaggerations, the dishonorable mention this morning is Kevin McCarthy, because I want to let you folks know that the Republicans released their commitment to cruelty for America this morning. Mm-hmm. Gabe, there wasn't a lot of people watching this thing. I think most of the people that were watching were people who were going to do what we're doing, which is fucking knocking on it, trying to give people how to politicize this thing. Literally, they basically, the tenements of this thing is, hey, we want white Christian domestic terrorist nationalists to not have law and order. Everyone else, brown, black people, liberals, we want them to have law and order, and we want cops to go take after them. I mean, unless the cops come after us, white Christian nationalists, then we'll beat them with flagpoles at the Capitol.
Yeah.
But also they want to get rid of education. They don't want your children to have education. And the best part is they're going to undo everything that Joe Biden did, including infrastructure that they go out and they give big checks to and they're bragging about, and lowering drug prices in the Inflation Reduction Act, and they're bitching about high gas prices as they go down, which doesn't make sense. I don't think that Kevin McCarthy is doing himself much good, even if Newt Gingrich tweets about how this is the new contract for America, when it's not even resembling close to the contract for America. It's only cruelty on Americans. They want America where they have the leg up, where there's no equality, there's no equity. It's only a nation for white Christian nationalists and the domestic MAGA terrorists that they are.
And remember what happened this week, specifically talking about those domestic terrorists from January 6th. They had the people, the 1776 Restoration Movement flooded the VA suicide hotline, so to demand that they release the January 6th protesters. Like these are the people that say, "Oh, patriots fucking serve and we're in the military and all this shit." Like they want to flood the line that is a resource to veterans who are dealing with suicide or thoughts of suicide, and flood them. So those people can't get the resources because they want to fucking bitch and moan about how some person that stormed the Capitol and broke the law and threatened to hang the vice president is now serving time or is in jail waiting for their court appearance. This is the same group of people that want to do this to the people that we so gratefully thank and say thank you for the service, but within the same breath we'll say, you can go fuck yourself, I don't really care about you.
Well, here's Elise Stefanik and Kevin McCarthy throwing it around, the idea that, hey, if you're a domestic terrorist, we're going to get you off the watch list because you're one of us. Because we know they all see themselves as domestic terrorists. They said at the Nazi rally down in Texas at the CPAC meeting. Let's listen to Elise Stefanik and Kevin McCarthy say how they're going to get domestic terrorists off the watch list.
Priority for our Education Committee in the next Congress.
So I hope we answer. I'll make this personal pledge. I don't know if it happened, but any parent that got put on the terrorist watch list by the DOJ.
Priority.
He says, he goes on to say that he's going to take them off the watch list. Any domestic terrorist who is threatening elected officials, I'm going to make sure to get you off the watch list because we don't want punishment for white Christian national domestic terrorists. We just don't want that in this America. In Trump's America, we want to make sure white people can do whatever they want, commit whatever violence. They can try to even overthrow elections. They can even try to overthrow elections, Gabe.
I had no idea that threatening people, their lives, was totally cool under the Constitution. I didn't know that, Tony. I didn't know that we were falsely accusing and imprisoning these people that were making death threats.
Gabe, it's the white Constitution. It's the one that white people have to follow. White Christian nationalists have a different Constitution. It's a different one than what other. Speaking of white people going after and denigrating migrants, brown people as as just pieces of meat. We go back to the winner, Ron DeSantis here. Again, there's not enough. Gabe, you could probably do a 4-hour rant on this.
Oh, yeah.
Just from your experience of being the reason why you're here in this country is because your dad came here as migrant. Right. Really, honestly, almost everyone watching here that's in America, I'm here. My family came in the late 19th century as migrants to this country.
Yeah.
They crossed over the border, and this country welcomed the migrants to this country. They worked hard. They had shitty jobs. They had shitty living conditions even then because they were broke and poor, but they knew coming to America there was opportunity for liberty and freedom and equality and equity. And that's what they strived for, and that's what they were pushing for. They really, truly believe that. That's why all of us are fucking here in the first... unless you have native blood and you are native, then we stole it from you.
Right.
We stole it.
I mean, like, the way that Republicans look at this is like they get invited to play a game, they take the ball, and they say, no one can play the game anymore. That's what this is. They got invited to play, which is, we were migrants and we came to this country seeking a better life, right? We see the Statue of Liberty. We see these things. Great. Boom. Beacon of hope. And as soon as we get here and we make our lives better, because that is what this country is all about, then they say, you know what? Actually, we don't need any more people that don't look like us, right?
There's too many. You're getting to be to where you're really hamping.
Too like, the light-skinned area is a little dark, and that is what they say when they're unhappy with the fact that the white representation of their caucus, whatever, is actually becoming diverse and becoming the melting pot that America is and should be. But they feel threatened for whatever, either the opportunities, the talent, the skill, the intelligence, just the beauty of people who come that aren't looking white, right? Like they feel threatened by just the presence of someone who doesn't look like them, who isn't mediocre, who isn't just average. They feel threatened by these people. And the immediate reaction they have is, no, you can't come. You can't be here because that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair to me because you're threatening me. I mean, that's what it is, really.
It's cruelty. It's cruelty. Yeah. And it's their commitment to cruelty. And this guy's commitment to cruelty, because we know he's a fascist down in Florida, and he's laying out a blueprint for a fascist state of America.
Think of Florida. You have a large population that literally came from Cuba.
Right.
Like, that is the
They're
destination.
Migrants.
And then you're going to say...
You know what's funny, too, about these Venezuelans that they coerced on a plane and sent to Martha's Vineyard? Do you know what type of government they were actually leaving persecution from? Do you know? It wasn't a fascist government. It's the one that they always say... What they call us? What do they call us? This libtards. They call us communist.
Yeah, yes, communist.
They come from a communist government where they're seeking refuge from persecution in the communist government, and they can't even pluck their head out of their ass long enough to figure out that these people are actually gonna be against the communist here, and the reason why they're not is because that's not how it works. That's not what it is. Because there's only one commitment to cruelty in this country, and it's the Republican Party. It's Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, and Kevin McCarthy. And let's do this. Let's give the winner his due here. Ron DeSantis, Bonehead of the Week, folks. Fuck that Bonehead of the Week. That's what I say. Ron DeSantis,
fuck you.
You can go fuck yourself. Speaking of that, go to store.dtonymichaels.com and get your Ron DeSantis can go fuck himself merch. T-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs. Wear it loudly and proudly that Ron DeSantis can go fuck himself. And I think that's
himself.
He can go fuck himself.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great a great rally cry, because really with this cruelty, this commitment to cruelty on America that the Republicans are releasing today, it's more the same. It's more the brown people aren't real Americans. We'll ship them wherever we want them. We'll treat them as meat. They're here illegally, even though they're here legally seeking asylum from refuge from a communist country. It really is, it's weird that we have to explain this to people, but folks, we do have to lean into democracy. We do have to do that. And how you can do that is watch the Tony Michaels podcast every single weekday, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 11 Central, on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We're back on YouTube, folks. We're back off our ban. So go follow the Tony Michaels podcast. And if you're on the MeidasTouch network right now watching the replay of Bonehead of the Week, subscribe to MeidasTouch, but also go over to the Tony Michaels podcast. And download every single episode of the podcast at Apple, Spotify, Google, and follow us on the tweety tweets and the trendy trends at Tony Michaels Pod. That's where you vote for Bonehead of the Week every single week. You decide, you vote. We break it down every single Friday on the Tony Michaels Podcast and the replay on MeidasTouch Network right here on the tubes of you. It's been a great week. What a bunch of news. They really are showing their true colors as a lead up into this election. So lean into it. Engage in your democracy. If you're on the live version here, stick around. We have a few announcements right after the song. Thanks for joining Bonehead of the Week.